Hey everyone, we'll get back to the podcast in a second, but first I have a new novel out, Holtman Arms. It follows Colvin Hall, an aspiring writer who decides to write a romance novel on a whim, sends it to a publisher, and it becomes a huge success. The only problem is, no one knows it's him because he writes under the pen name Mary Ballantyne. With all of the money and none of the fame, Colvin longs for the world to recognize his accomplishments. When he gets an opportunity to write a freelance article on a washed-up 90s pop star looking for a comeback, that recognition starts to come, but is it all he hoped for? It doesn't matter, because he's getting it whether he likes it or not. Holtman Arms is the second in my author's cycle after A Girl and a Gun, and like that previous novel, it explores themes of success and accomplishment in the 21st century. You can buy it now through Amazon in paperback or on Kindle. The link is in the podcast description. As always, thanks for your support.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Direct-to-Video Connoisseur podcast. As always, this is Matt here, and I am joined once again by a frequent collaborator to the show, Ty from Comeuppance Reviews. Welcome back, Ty.
Hey, I'm back for more Bruce talk.
Yeah, the last one we did was pretty well received. I think people were
good.
Really get a kick out of it. So I know we kind of dug the format and thought, hey, why don't we try to do some more? And there's like no shortage of Bruce Willis out there.
No, there's a lot to choose from still.
Exactly. So we thought, hey, why don't we, pick two more Dolphs two more Bruce Willises that are available on streaming. Yeah, exactly. We'll chat about a couple of those. So the movies we're going to talk about Wrong Place, which is on Hulu right now, and then Corrective Measures, which is on Tubi. And then at the end, we both saw Section 8, the new Dolph Scott Adkins movie. So we're going to chat a little bit about that as well. And we also may have a special guest who might join us to chat about that one.
I can't wait. So it's like, it's funny. We talked about Section 8 or about watching it last. We did these Bruce podcasts. I think we did in about November. So
yeah, because I think you had seen it on AMC Plus.
Oh, I think I did. I forgot. I thought I watched it I think I did watch it about a month ago then.
Yeah. Because you saw it on it. And then what happened with me, Xfinity is doing this deal right now where for the month of December, and I completely forgot to turn it on today as we're chatting, but they have this thing called Xfinity Rewards. I think the cable company wanted to get in on like Taco Bell rewards or something. Yeah.
Well, I don't want a Crunchwrap Supreme. I'll take a deal on that.
Right. They all want to do that kind of thing. So their Xfinity Rewards is for this month, if you can get one rental for $1 every weekend. And so I rented. I took advantage of that to see Section 8 as well. I think it was like $3.99, so I got it for $1.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, because
you get a good $1 for $1. It's kind of like we have something here in Connecticut, like dinner for $1, like for like poorer folks at the churches and stuff.
Oh yeah,
dinner for $1. It's like, and there's like a picture of some spaghetti sauce or whatever. But it's like, so I would see it all around town. So it makes me laugh. $1 for $1.
That would be amazing. Like if there was like a deal, like what? Because right now he has two movies out, right? He's got that are available for rent. I think Section 8 and then Operation Seawolf. So it's like
you didn't have a chance to watch that, right?
No, I haven't seen that one yet. So again, we'll kind of see how the weekend goes because it might be if my wife sometimes will grab the $1 rental for herself to get to watch something. So if she grabs it, then it's out. But then like usually around Sunday, I'll see if she hasn't used it by Sunday night, then I know I'm safe to grab it myself and.
Oh, okay. Because what does she try to put on? Like a romantic thing?
No, right now she's doing Christmas things. So I think we had mentioned this last time. She did Home Alone last weekend.
The classic Home Alone with Kevin the Murderer McAllister.
Yes,
so that's exactly.
So someone made a point that it's almost a Die Hard movie in a way, right?
You know what? That's actually a pretty good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he's in his one location and he's taking out the baddies with anything he can.
It's just the same baddies over and over again. It's just the wet bandits.
Right,
You know,
exactly. He's not picking people off. So
you gotta give it up to Daniel Stern for like making a career of just falling on things and getting hit by things in the 90s. You know, look at Bushwhacked. That's basically the whole movie. He just gets hit by trees and whatever and kids. It's not a bad movie actually, and he plays another like criminal.
Right. It's like almost like it's like Joe Pesci was like bringing like the star power to it, and he just like, well, no, he's gonna still do his, New York accent, like tough guy kind of roles, whether it's the Super or got Goodfellas,
right, or Gone Fishing, or 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag, or what's the other one? I can. Well, With Honors is a serious drama. So
yes, exactly.
Because he's a bum, but he has a bum beard, and he goes to Harvard, so it's very exciting. He lives in the does he live in the heater section of the Harvard or whatever?
Yeah.
He just lives there in the furnace or whatever. Just like he doesn't live in a furnace, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it had the Madonna song, right? On the I remember.
Wait, what's like I don't remember that part. I usually tune out Madonna.
Yeah.
Did he sing it or something?
No, it was like that was part of the thing, right? It was like, I remember, because I remember the video had like scenes, because it's like Brendan Fraser, right? Is he in it?
It's Brendan Fraser and the Peshter.
Yeah, and so the video was like her singing, like I think she was like in a nightclub kind of thing singing. I can't remember, but then it's like interspersed with clips of like Brendan Fraser and Joe Pesci yucking it up from the movie, the way they do that with the videos.
Let me get. I've seen the movie, but I'm assuming there's a shot where he looks whimsy, full of whimsy. He looks up and he has a beard. He goes through the grate or whatever. Yes. I think that is a shot, or I'm making that up. But With Honors, time for the With Honors podcast. Right. Our special guest is Joe Pesci. It's like.
Hey, what are you guys doing over there talking about? I didn't prepare a good Pesci. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Just, the thing about one more thing I want to mention about Home Alone and Dan Stern, as I call him, is that I watched about a couple minutes of Home Alone 2, and McAllister throws a brick from a high distance onto Daniel Stern. It would destroy your ribs, or kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. My wife and I were watching this movie called. Now I can't think of the name of it. It's got Laura Dern in it. Let me see if I can look it up. It's like Citizen Ruth is what it's called.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a scene at the end of the movie where she's trying to escape the abortion clinic because she's stealing the money. And because she knows she had a miscarriage, but she wants to get the money for the abortion anyway. And she takes the cover off the toilet seat and drops it on this guy who's below. And it was like, really like jarring. It was like, oh man, like just drop that on his head. And you're right. It's like these movies and these things. And I think my friend made a comment about it was it Prom Night 2, I think, with Michael Ironside.
Yeah, Hello Mary Lou.
Hello Mary Lou, yeah. Where like somebody gets whacked in the back of the head and knocked out. And my buddy was like, if that happened in real life, you could like it would like either kill the person or like do some serious damage to them. And it's like in a movie, it just knocks them out, and they wake up a little later with a bit of a headache, and like, oh man, yeah.
Yeah, it takes some. Well, I guess liquid gels weren't invented yet, back in the 90s. I don't think. I don't think they were around. That's a newer drug. I assume.
Yeah.
Kind of like fentanyl. Well, I mean, fentanyl's probably been around for a while, but you hear it a lot now. I never stopped hearing about fentanyl.
No, it's the new it thing, and it's like the new like scare everybody thing. I think is right. Like
And I was going to mention that I think they mentioned fentanyl in Wrong Place, which you could jump right into.
Yeah, no, you're right, because there's meth. I think they're meth cookers.
Oh, it's meth. Okay.
Yeah. So Wrong Place. All right. So this one is on Hulu.
Popped up because how I watched it was like, hey, look, you liked American Siege and A Day to Die. How about Wrong Place? Like, all right.
See, because I think you've already seen Gasoline Alley, right?
I did, yes.
Yes, that's why you don't. So for me, I have not seen Gasoline Alley yet. So Hulu keeps cramming Gasoline Alley on. So maybe the next podcast, maybe we'll have to do that one, because every time I watch a Willis film, it's just like, hey, watch Gasoline Alley. Hey, have you seen Gasoline Alley yet? I bet you'd like Gasoline Alley.
He's like, I already watched it, but it still puts it on me too after you watch Wrong Place. Like, do you watch Gasoline Alley? I watched it.
Right. So even then, it's like, they're trying to give you that. So Wrong Place. It's directed by this guy Mike Burns, who did another Willis film.
Yeah, Out of Death.
Yes,
which is very similar to this movie.
Yeah, and I did that one for that solo one that I did. I gotta say, between the two, I think Out of Death. I think before I get, I'll do the synopsis here in a second. But I think between Jamie King and Ashley Greene, I think Jamie King does a better job in these kinds of movies.
I would have to agree, because it's like almost a sequel or a prequel to Out of Death or even American Siege.
Right.
It doesn't have our buddy Fake Nepper,
No, which we could have used. We could have used some Fake Nepper in this. This could have used a lot of things. So I guess I'll do a quick synopsis here.
Yeah, go ahead. I just want to say Timothy V. Murphy. The court case isn't settled yet.
Right. Yeah, that's part of the Fake Nepper. Yeah. So this takes place in Alabama. Bruce Willis is a police captain who finds out his daughter, Ashley Greene, has cancer. And so he and his wife go out and they tie one on. They don't really tie one on. He just maybe has a little bit. Yeah,
that's another issue there. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that it was very, wasn't very shot or written well. Yes. I don't know what the heck was going on. Yeah. It was like, what? You're at a bar? But it's all shot in this weird darkness.
Yeah, they were like I guess an Italian restaurant that was like, I don't know. Yeah, it had I think it had the tablecloth, that red and white checker yeah. So
go ahead.
On the way home, they hit a deer, wife dies. A year later, we find out he's a disgraced former captain who's working security at a pawn shop. Wrong place, wrong time. He's out back, and he happens to catch out behind the pawn shop, which I guess the pawn shop is made out of corrugated metal. I don't.
Yeah, that didn't look like a pawn shop to me. It looked like some sort of weird, like old, like I can't remember, like an old hut. It looked like you see some. Exactly. I don't know what that was. It was like an old hut from like Star Wars. That's what it looked like.
Right, exactly. So out behind there, these two meth cookers. One of them is played by Masi Furlan, who's of Italian descent, and the other one is Michael Cero, who you may remember as the sheriff from Out of Death. He's the son. Yeah. They
get these same kind of stable of actors to drop by in these things.
Yeah, they just kind of get their crew and they just kind of call them up and say, "Hey, it's been a couple of weeks since we shot a Bruce Willis movie."
Was that Virgil you're talking about? This evil guy?
Yes, yeah, Virgil, yeah. And so there's this. They've chased down this other meth dealer who I guess has been stiffing them, and he's played by he's this kind of doughy, bearded guy, and Bruce Willis witnesses them shoot him. And so then Bruce Willis arrests Virgil, but the gun was thrown into the woods, and the son grabbed the gun and hit it. So now Bruce Willis is the only tie between this guy's murder and he's the only thing that can tie him to the murder. So if Bruce Willis is dead, then there's no murder. So now the son needs to kill Bruce Willis. At the same time, Ashley Greene, the daughter, she's coming back to visit with her girlfriend, played by Stacey Danger, which I guess is an apt name.
That's an awesome name, by the way. Yeah. And it was Matt Danger. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't it sound like it would be like a Nickelodeon comedy?
Yeah, it would be like a little kid and maybe played by Amanda Bynes from the 90s, like Stacey Danger.
Stacey, exactly. Yeah. On the news, Stacey Danger after Kenan and Kel. It's like
I could totally see that. Yeah. It would be like a goofy kids show that we would maybe watch when we were kids or teenagers, and then like, hey, that was a good show. That's Stacey Danger. Should be on DVD.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, that person from Stacey Danger is in this Bruce Willis movie or something like that.
Exactly. Kind of like when you see sometimes Kel Mitchell pop up in a couple of things.
Yeah.
Keenan's just stuck on SNL for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he's become the Tim Meadows of this group. Though I think he's even outlasted Tim Meadows, right? I think he's longer than Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows.
I remember there was a Tim Meadows one where I want to say it was like Adam Sandler, or no, maybe it was it was Adam Sandler. Somebody from the cast came back on, and Tim Meadows was there, and the person was kind of walking through meeting the new people, and then there's Tim Meadows like, "Hey Tim, are you guesting on this episode too?" And he's like, "No, I'm still in the cast." And
yeah, I think I saw that. That was funny. Yeah, I think I like Tim Meadows. I think I won't say he's like a one-note person, but he does have that kind of way of speaking that's always kind of sarcastic. But he pulls it off. I would like to see him maybe in a drama.
Yeah,
they call him Timothy Meadows. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, like for example, this movie with the guy who takes over for the captain, Texas Battle, who
I wanted to mention that, yes.
Yeah.
Because I've seen him in a lot of these Bruce movies, and that's an amazing name. It's like if your name was Afghan War, It's like, so it's just like, I actually just thought of that before he started recording, but it's like, what could be similar to Texas Battle? Afghan War.
Afghan War. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Tim Meadows would be perfect in his part, I think.
I think Tim Meadows probably wants to do drama. I'm not sure could he pull it off. I'm not sure, but I would like to at least see him try. The Ladies' Man. I think there's like one dramatic scene in it for like a second.
Right. Yeah.
It is exactly. Julianne Moore's best work, by the way.
Yes,
so let's not forget about that.
Yes.
No, forget all the other things. Forget Shortcuts or Boogie Nights or something like that.
Yeah.
Nope. The Ladies' Man.
Yeah.
Which plays that clown or whatever.
Yes.
Why do I remember that? But she, had the gall to do it. It's like, would she do it today?
I doubt. Yeah, that's a good point. I think she's more serious now, isn't she?
There was that show on Apple TV. I forget the name of the show, but with Julianne Moore, so I guess it's probably okay. Because her and Clive Owen. Have you watched this?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Did she have a British accent in it?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. When I watched The Essex Serpent, I had Claire Danes on Apple TV, and it was a nice snooze.
Yeah, I haven't been digging into Apple TV as much. I did. Sometimes I watch baseball games on there, but I know, they've got the different shows and everything.
Yeah, I can only watch it in like like my friend's house, so it's well, I don't really get to watch it as much. And plus, I mean, I could watch what's that show has Ray Liotta and Blackbird. I hear good things about that.
Oh yeah, same here. Yeah, that's the thing with these streaming things, right? It's like you've got to kind of, some people like we kind of. I was thinking the other day that we had them all, but then it's like you mentioned like Apple TV or AMC. It's like, well, we don't have those ones, so it's like it's hard to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like it's hard to get them all. Like it's hard to there's always gonna be one that you're missing.
Good point. That's true. I mean, I remember when it was just Netflix, Hulu, Amazon.
Yeah.
And we were all content with that.
Right.
Yeah. And now it's everything, and you're trying to get to everything. Like AMC Plus, luckily we got to watch Section 8, which we'll talk about. Oh, we got to go back to Wrong Place. So what's the rest of the plot?
Well, so then, get back to the Bruce Willis plot. So then, what happens is this guy, the son, he shows up at Bruce Willis's house to kill him and sees the daughter there with her friend, and Bruce isn't there. So he holds them hostage and then uses Ashley Greene to get the daughter. But of course, he's a bumbling criminal and she's like a really smart hostage. So she's just constantly doing things to like make it difficult on him. And then of course Bruce Willis comes in and he's making it difficult on him. And then eventually it kind of just all comes to a head and it's, everything kind of works out the way it's supposed to, I guess.
Well, the problem with this one, I think it's pretty mediocre through and through.
Yes.
There was really absolutely nothing really to hang your hat on. It needed the people from the movies you watched last time. Right. Trevor Gretzky or Kevin Dillon. Yeah. So it's like,
well, because one of the things too, you make a great point, because the characters that were in American Siege, because that was my first thought when I started watching this. I was like, oh, this might be a good companion to American Siege.
But, that's right, exactly, or Out of Death for sure.
Yeah, and it turns out it's not, because I think with American Siege, the characters that you have in the poor man's Morgan Freeman's house.
What's that guy's name again? I almost remember his name.
I bet the character's name was like Keats, right, or something like that, or
Keats. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, good old Keats. Yeah.
But like those characters that were like in there, they weren't like fantastic, but they were good enough to.
They kept your attention.
Yeah.
That's the thing. These characters in this movie, Wrong Place, are just like, eh. Like you just kind of wait for the movie to end. I hate to say that, but that's the problem with these Bruce Willis movies. They're kind of written really poorly.
Yeah. I mean, the Ashley Greene character was kind of annoying. She was just would talk about how great she was all the time, it seemed like.
Yeah, and then you got your fake Trisha Yearwood and Carrie Underwood songs in the background.
Yes,
and your fake Edwin McCain. Let's
none of that helped anything.
No, I laugh when I hear fake Edwin McCain. Just like
I think like the Virgil character, the Massey Furlow, he might have been a really good baddie, but he's in like 2 scenes and that's it.
That's the problem. It's really easy to fix this one, I think. You just kind of look at Out of Death, you kind of look at it, you smush them together like it seems like it would have been.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have it. Just doesn't have it this time around. And
no.
I was trying to give Ashley Greene a break too, because he's like, well, I think she was hoping to be a bigger star. Right. That's what it seemed like. Because remember that movie I went to the theater? It was like the Apparition. Have you seen that?
No.
It's a ghost movie, kind of like The Grudge or something like that. I hear it's kind of garbagey, but I think that was like her. This is it. This is my chance. It's like Oh, it tanked.
Yeah, because I know, I mean, obviously her big claim to fame is the Twilight movies.
That's
And I think,
Twilight, yeah.
Kellen Lutz is another one who's like trying to trade on this Twilight thing. And I think it's one of those things with the Twilight movies that it was like they have like this huge fandom. I'll say one of the interesting things is I did Arena with Kellen Lutz and I posted a picture on Tumblr for it. And these kids that had like this whole like Twilight fanfic thing, they reblogged my picture of Kellen Lutz from Arena, and they created this whole storyline, and it was like also like this merging of things.
So you
where it
can
was like
create your own storyline on Tumblr about Arena?
No, it was about Twilight / Harry Potter. It's like it was this group that did like Twilight, Harry Potter, and they took the picture that I did that I shot from Arena where it showed Kellen Lutz after he'd been beaten up.
Right, I think I might have that one too. It's like I was getting beaten up in that.
Right, exactly. They took that picture and created a whole like small like fanfic thing, like Twilight, Harry Potter fanfic thing around it. And so I think that's a thing that I think the people who make these movies, and I mean, granted, I think Ashley Greene was okay in one shot. I think she, the Scott Adkins movie. So maybe it's the material too. The material doesn't always help with these films.
And then it's shot like maybe like 2 locations. I feel like I know there's problems with the Bruce stuff, and I hear in this not new one, that Detective Night movie, he's like wearing a mask, or is he? Because it's probably not him. He's like, he's at a Halloween party, and some guy, he's just wearing a mask. Right. I wonder if Bruce is in that mask. I say no. But I'll have to watch that. I know. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because I think it's I don't know what the there's this one on Tumblr. It's like maybe Action Reloaded or something that they've been actually trying to keep up with the Bruce Willis movies. But I think one of the things I think we talked about before we got on the podcast here is that Todd Gaines from Bulletproof Action, he hasn't done either of these two we're talking about today.
He must be off the Bruce beat, or he's just like, I'm done. Right?
Yeah, I wonder if he's just staying caught up with this is too much. Like, I mean, I was looking at it from our standpoint, and maybe I'm kind of getting off track on wrong place, but for 2022 movies, right? I mean, we just for our podcast here, right? We've done Wrong Place. We're going to do Corrective Measures, and I guess the other Day to Die, right? So we've done 3, and then American Siege was 2021. So we'll have done 3 of them, and then I did Vendetta on another podcast, but that still leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7
That's almost 2 to 3 podcasts to do.
Exactly. I mean, it would take us a year of because we do these maybe like every other month. I mean, in a year
we have schedule issues. Yeah, in a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because I mean, we also do episodes with Brett, where we're kind of the more standard, whether it's your podcast or mine, when we do our more standard episodes. So I mean, it would take a while to just for podcast wise. I mean, we'd have to start tripling up. I would do 3 instead of 2, but that's just the 2022 movies. So I wonder too, from Todd's standpoint or whoever, because I mean, Todd was almost like he was like the chronicler of these movies.
Exactly. And then I guess we're almost picking up his slack. I mean, we still got to see Paradise Alley. Or Paradise. That was what it was called, right?
Paradise City.
Paradise Alley is a movie of Stallone, right?
Yeah, Wire Room. Yeah, Paradise City, Wire Room with
our bro Kevin Dillon.
Who we're big fans of. I think you've seen White Elephant, right?
I did see White Elephant. It was on AMC Plus because I don't get to watch that often. I'll rush through it. Yeah. So I did watch that. It's so funny. I did watch that this year. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I've seen Vendetta, which is the other one on here that I don't know if you've seen.
I haven't seen yet. So
with good old Theo Rossi, who I'm a big fan of. I mean,
your best buddy Theo Rossi. And we need Theo Rossi and Kevin Dillon to make a movie, and there you go.
Right, that would be a good one. Yeah, I mean, part of it's almost like we shouldn't have done on the one hand, it's almost like maybe we shouldn't have done American Siege last time because it was a 2021 and we'll never get through 2022. But on the other hand, out of all the ones that we're going to be talking about here, I think American Siege was the best one out of those. It's almost like we needed that movie.
We do. And Day to Die was so funny as we I'm still laughing about it today.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's another thing this movie needed, a Wrong Place. Maybe it needed some Kevin Dillon as well.
I think we were talking about making a Kevin Dillon episode. You just have to wait for Wire Room and or On the Line of Mel Gibson to come out for free.
Yeah, because I think Hot Seat with Mel Gibson is out.
Oh, Hot Seat, yes, I forgot about Hot Seat. Netflix won't carry it because they're lazy.
I think it's on Tubi. I think it's on Tubi now.
Hot Seat's on Tubi? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that could be number one on the next our podcast there. The Kevin Dillon podcast.
Yeah, and I mean I think we this idea that I think we lucked out last time when we picked the two movies we picked because there was a lot of stuff in them, and we get into Corrective Measures. I think there's going to be more there for that one, but
a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean this was just I don't know. One thing I want to mention, maybe as we're kind of looking at stuff to talk about here, this movie had what I call ending padding, which I think is like the worst kind of padding.
Yes, I did notice that.
Yeah, I mean, what was there, an extra 10 minutes tacked on the end where like they're on the dock just like talking and crying and stuff?
Yeah, that took a long time. That was Texas Battle crying and then like Battle Cry.
Yes, Battle Cry.
Texas Battle Cry. But it's right there. But it's like, yeah, my homie Frank Richards, is very close to Frank Reynolds, Danny DeVito's character in Always Sunny. But that's made me laugh. It's like it's right there. And then I wrote that down. Texas Battle saying it's my homie Frank Richards. And then Texas Battle was in that show of Dolph Lundgren. Remember that one, Safe?
Oh, Safe.
It's
yes.
SA3. Oh, the movie or the show?
The show is on. Yeah.
All 13 great episodes are on Tubi.
I believe so. Yeah.
There's a lot of missing Dolph. I'll say that. It's just like I was so excited when it was coming out too. It's like I'm safe
because on Tubi,
Texas Battle.
On Tubi, it is that face, and like you can almost hear the voice too. Like it's got that Dolph face with like the hair that's kind of spiky-ish, from that from Command Performance era. And he's got that look on his face, like I'm Dolph and I'm here to take care of business.
And he doesn't. I'm supposed to keep you safe, but I'm not really around right now. It's like, and then he says, well, I'm actually making Expendables 3 at the time, so I could be in like 2 episodes. So it's just like, and that's basically true because it's just Texas Battle and some other goofballs, and it's just like, and the dialogue and acting is really hilariously bad. If you've seen the whole series, if you watched it, I don't know if you watched the whole thing.
I've watched some episodes of it, and I think once I discovered that there's no Dolph in it, I was like, okay, because
it's really limited. I mean, it's like I think there's 13 eps. I think there's maybe about half if you're lucky, if I remember. Because they put it on primetime syndication, really.
Yeah. When
that was coming out, it was like noon syndicated. It's syndicated. Syndication is back.
Yeah.
And it was for like about less than a year because they had that show. And remember the other show called The Pinkertons?
Yes, I do.
That was good. That had Angus McFadden very briefly. He's like the Dolph of syndication. It's like, oh, Angus McFadden? Oh, you only had just a couple episodes like Dolph, huh? All right.
Yeah, it's a shame because, I think streaming has probably done away with syndicated TV, right? Because it's like now these series will be put on a streaming site. But syndicated TV was one of the best things ever, like in like kind of in the 90s into the early 2000s. Well, I was trying to think. I think it was like Legend of the Seeker. Was that the last syndicated show before like they had that like that
I forgot about that one.
Is that what it was called, Legend of the Seeker?
I remember the show. Yeah. It's like I think that was the title.
And it was like it was it. That's like a movie. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something of the Seeker. I don't know.
No, that sounds about right. Legend of the Seeker. It was okay. It's kind of like the show called Crusoe.
Right.
And Philip Winchester from Strike Back. And of course, the best show ever, The Player.
Yes.
Did you get to watch that?
Is that the one? Is that the poker one with Michael Madsen?
Oh, that's Tilt.
Oh, no,
The
Tilt.
Player.
Okay.
The Player is Philip Winchester and Wesley Snipes. Came out of, I hate to even say it, almost 10 years ago now.
I believe that's on Tubi as well. I think.
We need to get off this podcast and watch it. It's like it's 9 great episodes because it's Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
And I will not give away anything.
Okay.
Because let's just say he does something really, really awesome.
Okay. All right. I'll definitely.
And I'm not sure what it's called. The Norseman is the episode.
Okay.
Or the Horseman. And if it's Norseman, and he did something so awesome. I mean, I almost like went crazy how awesome it was. So, or I forgot, wrong place, right?
Yeah. This is what's going to happen, I think, to us with Wrong Place throughout this entire time, because Wrong Place was just so one-notey. I think.
Yes.
I think there are a few other things. So the padding at the end, I think, is the worst, because the padding at the end So I always think of like a bunch of different types of padding, right? You got your traditional padding, which is just like extended dialogue, or maybe like a scene, a secondary character has a storyline that pads the film out.
Right.
And then you've got your credit padding, which I think is the best kind of padding, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
Movies listed as 100 minutes, but then at 85 minutes they start the credits, and you're like,
yes.
oh, yeah, right. It's almost like when you're on hold, when you're like trying to get help for something, and you're on hold, and they tell you it's a half hour, but at 15 minutes you hear the, "Hello, this is Roger here. How can I help you?" It's like, oh my God,
I'm talking to a person. Roger, are you here? It's like
exactly. Yeah. Credit padding is the best padding. So for movie makers out there, if you need to pad your movie, the best thing to do is just tack on the credits, because that's the best. But I think ending padding is the worst, because you get to this point where this movie really fits a nice denouement. And then, I mean, it just goes on forever, where it's like Texas battle sitting on
the dock, and
yeah,
I was just kind of checking my watch, which I don't really have. I have the phone.
Right.
Seeing when it's over, and just like so, yeah. It's it ended. All right. It's like,
and then like Ashley Greene and Stacey Danger show up, and they're talking to him, and it's like, okay, are you done? It has the feeling almost like of a neighbor who shows up, and you can't get that neighbor out of your house or your place.
Exactly. It's like, can you end? And then like that Corrective Measures has that same problem too. We can get to it in a minute. But I did notice he was not wearing his badge. Bruce. No. He was just wearing a security hat. I was very disappointed.
Well, you know why? This movie also has a lot of stretches in terms of like the dialogue, or in the story. So the idea is that Bruce Willis's character has to leave the force, because after his wife dies in the car accident, he blows a .08 with the breathalyzer, and he gets charged with drunk driving, which they commute the sentence, but he can't be a police officer, which just sounds ridiculous to me, that any DA would charge somebody who just found out his daughter has cancer and his wife died in a car accident on the same night. Like, they would charge him with drunk driving if he's just barely over the legal limit. Like I think they'd be like, okay, I think you suffered enough. And I don't think they also wouldn't. It would have been a better story if he had to quit the force because he was just so distraught from all of that stuff.
That's what I think, that when it comes to this, from writing these Bruce Willis movies, it's like there must be some sort of weird formula where he doesn't really read the plot. I don't think there must be a way he just reads his lines. He maybe wears his costume, and then that's it.
Right.
Because it didn't seem like he didn't really have. He had no emotion. I know he has his issues, but he had no emotion, no anything to any what's going on at all, with any actor at all, with any situation. So it's like, and it's a little frustrating to watch, because I feel like if he was, if he wasn't feeling he was feeling better, we'll say, I think he could have done a good job in this role. But because he has these problems, he's kind of like stuck. So it's like, I'm saying this the nicest way possible.
No, because you're right. Like, especially that opening scene you talked about, where that scene where he's with his wife and they're having dinner. Like, I think part of the reason why it was lit improperly.
Clunky.
Yeah, like you could see, like, he's having trouble holding the wine glass, I think.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. And so they were doing a lot of mitigation there. And I think you're right. Like, that's the problem, right? Is that they have we always talk about the paradigm where it's Bruce Willis and then some younger guy who does the heavy lifting. And so the idea, I guess, was that Ashley Greene was going to be the one doing the heavy lifting here.
Yeah, and she did for the most part, which even she didn't really do anything. I mean, I'm trying to give her a pass, but just I'll give her a pass.
Yeah. The character wasn't written with any real vulnerability.
Yeah,
and I think
nothing.
Jamie King character having the vulnerability actually made it more compelling. Whereas with this, it was like, I don't know, it was like she just kept doing all these things to the bad guy. And it was like, why is this bad guy just putting up with this? Like, it didn't make any sense, and he just kept putting up with this stuff.
And what happens? He just get checked out. I mean, I would like to like this movie, but because it's just relentlessly mediocre, you can't really hang your hat on. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is that I saw the trailer commercial for this De Niro thing, Savage Salvation. Have you seen? It's a Randall Emmett directed joint. It's Robert De Niro. Okay. He's back straight to video. John Malkovich, he's doing all these garbages lately. Yeah. And Jack Houston. And it looked okay. It looked like it's a mixture of fentanyl drama and action. Where Jack Houston walked away from explosion, slow motion. De Niro's just kind of hanging around, just kind of punched in here and there. he's like an old fat sheriff who's like Southern or something.
Right.
Looks perfect for this podcast that we're doing.
Yes.
It's almost like it's like tailor made. It's an Emmett thing. We gotta watch it.
Yeah, because Jack Houston, I'm always a fan of him in this kind of stuff. But also character actor Noel Guglielmi, who always plays like a Mexican gangster. It's funny. I heard this screenwriter I can't remember his last name. Johnny. I think
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, he wrote Recoil, the one, not the Daniels one, but he wrote
one with Austin one.
Right, exactly. And he said he met because Noel Guglielmi was in that movie. He said he talked, he's met him, and he's actually like the nicest guy ever, which is hilarious, right? Because he's always playing these thugs in these movies, like these really bad guys. And he said, if you talk to him, he's fantastic. Like which I guess probably makes sense, right? A lot of these like really bad guys in these movies,
he has evil face, intimidating face.
Right, exactly. John Sullivan, that's the name of the screenwriter. So he wrote Recoil, and he wanted me to review it way back. This is like the early 2010s, 2011.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah,
10 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, and I mentioned Noel Guglielmi being in the movie. He's like, yeah, you should, he's like, you met him. He's like the nicest guy. And I just happened to see that he's in Savage Salvation. So,
we should watch that. I hope. I mean, I think that looks like it'll be free soon.
Yeah, I gotta think it's got to go on. It's got to be on Hulu soon.
It
right?
looks Hulu-y. It definitely looks Hulu-y. Yeah, so hopefully I'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Yeah, no. One thing I wanted to ask, and I'll answer it first, just in case there's any, in case there's any misgivings about answering the question. But and there's one scene where the baddie, the son, they've got like this like area where like I guess they use acid to break down bodies, and they've got drugs and stuff and everything like in this kind of. And to test the acid, he throws a cold hot dog in there. But first, he takes a bite out of the cold hot dog, and so. I have to confess.
That might have been improv.
Yeah, because I don't know if when I was growing up, we had this nice hot dog factory near us that made really good hot dogs, Schultz hot dogs in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and you could eat those cold. But I don't know if you've ever had occasion to eat a cold hot dog before. So that's my only time doing it was with those Schultz hot dogs. I would eat those cold.
Well, it's funny. I'm not a fan of hot dogs. Never liked them. It's like they taste like weird to me. It's like no, I'll stick to hamburgers. And it's like, but I guess we should. I guess I don't really recommend Wrong Place. I guess we could just jump to Corrective Measures.
Yeah, because
there's a little bit more of that one.
Yeah. So I think the thing. Yeah, because I think with Wrong Place, it really just it's just a time. It's not even a good time killer because it's gonna put you. Yeah, it's gonna drain on you.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all right. I guess the amount of tolerance we put up with, it's like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one of the interesting things as we move on to Corrective Measures, two interesting things about this film that make it a little bit unique compared to what we've talked about with the previous ones. One is it's not an Emmett Furla Oasis production. So
I noticed that.
Yeah, so the first one we've talked about that isn't in that category. It's also a Tubi original, which I don't know if we've ever talked about a Tubi original on any site. Yeah,
that I was about to mention that too because it's like, wow, Tubi's making their own movies, or they sold it to Tubi,
right?
But it's a good idea for them to have original ideas or movies and TV shows because hey, we'll watch it for free anyway. It's like, this is the perfect movie to watch for free. It's funny to watch the ads too because one of the ads on Tubi ads was like, well, first off, it's ad 1 of 7. So it's like 1 of 7 on Tubi says, Ebenezer Scrooge, he has a phone from Verizon, and it's like, he has a phone now. I don't know if you saw that ad when you were watching it.
Who is that? Giamatti. What's his first name? I can't think. Paul. No.
It's not Paul. I didn't know who played Ebenezer. There's another Giamatti lurking around.
No, it's Paul Giamatti. Yeah, because his dad.
Oh, it is. Wow.
Yeah. Paul Giamatti. I always forget his first name because his father was Bart Giamatti, who was he's a
baseball guy, right?
Right. He's the baseball commissioner who banned Pete Rose for life. So that's
that's not good. Pete Rose needs to come back.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's him. And so then Paul Giamatti. Yeah. So that's who's playing Scrooge in those commercials. And then I guess with the that woman. Speaking of Saturday Night Live, right? That's Cecily Strong. Is that who?
Yeah, it just like I didn't know Ebenezer had Wi-Fi connected. I mean, I guess it's 2022. You know, it's like
he's
like I guess that could be something. Is that what like Fred Claus is? Is basically it's Vince Vaughn and Paul Giamatti, right? And then they're like in the modern day.
That's right. That's right.
Because I always think whenever Ebenezer's like in 1692, Ebenezer Scrooge. There was that Nicolas Cage one, Christmas Carol, where he definitely phoned it in. It's an animated movie.
Yes.
I've never seen it, but it's like Ebenezer. It's just like
Yeah.
Like,
and then there's one that was made that had Patrick Stewart as Scrooge, right?
Yes, it's a good cast. And of course, we all know the best one, which is Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine as Scrooge.
Yes.
That was good. I mean, you can even cut out the songs and still be a good movie.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of the songs, but nice to see Muppets. It's kind of funny to see Muppets sing, I guess. But they sing all the time anyway. They can't stop.
No, actually, one thing actually quickly going back to Wrong Place that I wanted to mention as we're talking about the Scrooge thing. Do you remember there was a sketch that Conan O'Brien did where he talked about the other ghosts of Christmas? Mm-hmm. And one of them was the ghost of guy who works out in his basement. And so he goes to so he meets the ghost, right? And the ghost is like working out, like lifting up like a small like dumbbell. And and the ghost says to him, "What do you think?" And Conan's like, "Think of what?" And he goes, "These guns." But then there's the ghost of recent past, right? So he goes to see the ghost of recent past, and the ghost of recent past takes him back down to the basement where the guy's lifting weights, and he goes, "Remember this?" And
you have a good memory for these Conan skits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember Wrong Place was using what I call flashback padding, where you take scenes from that where you already saw in the movie, and you put them in the movie again. And every time a movie does that, I always think of that sketch. I was, it's like, "Hey, Matt, remember this that you saw 10 minutes ago in the movie?"
And I literally just saw the thing with the fake car crash that they tried to film. Okay.
Right, exactly. Or there's the scene where she talks about, for whatever reason, Willis's character has traps, and then it's like later, there's a flashback to her telling the friend that there's traps. It's like, "Remember this?" And it's like, okay, yes, So yeah, so as we were on the Scrooge thing, I just figured I'd mention that. But
we can jump to the corrective measures. I mean, like, what's the plot of this one? You're good at synopsis. I'm not.
So Corrective Measures. It's based off a graphic novel, and it's about this period in the future where some kind of radiation or something creates superhumans, and with the superhumans, we've got supervillains, and there's an idea that like there's a law about imprisoning these supervillains in a maximum security prison that also has like a device that nullifies their superpowers, and so in this super prison is run by the great Michael Rooker, who's your classic bad warden, and then
he was good. He's overseer, as he was talking about.
The overseer, right? Thing. That's right. He's the overseer with his straw hat.
Yes, I did write down a thing about his straw hat, which is a great hat.
Yeah, you gotta love the straw hat. And there's a character. So the character Diego Diaz, he's played by Brennan Mejia. He's like kind of like he's got superpowers, but they're more like he's empathic, so it's not like a really damaging ones. But then amongst the other characters that are in there, Bruce Willis plays this guy called the Loeb, who
Julius Loeb.
Yeah, he's essentially like an evil Professor Xavier, right? He can do all kinds of mind things. And then Dan Payne, who I guess is a Canadian actor, he plays this big, super strong guy called Payback, who's like essentially he's almost like the Punisher, right?
Yeah.
But is just super strong.
Yeah, that was an interesting character, but very mean-heady. It's like, "I'm gonna kill you, Loeb," and then it's like,
yeah, exactly.
And then like, well, to me, it was very like Suicide Squad, but very low budget.
Yeah.
So when they're all in prison, that's like the whole movie. This is
right, and I believe this prison. And then they mentioned the last character was Tom Cavanaugh. So we've got Tom Cavanaugh, who plays a guy who can conduct electricity through his body. So I always want to call him Ed Kavanaugh because his show was called Ed.
I was just like, he was Ed, right? So
right, exactly. Yeah.
I think Ed was on for a fair amount of time, or at least I hear about it a lot.
Yes.
So it's like, so still, I guess.
I think he still kind of lives off of Ed a little. Well, he was on The Flash. And then he was. I remember. So my wife is a big fan of Scrubs, and we watched that we watched Scrubs, like kind of went through. She was kind of taking me through it. He plays Zach Braff's older brother, who's kind of like like kind of a, I don't know, he's kind of like a lazy guy who like is kind of lives in an Arrested Development kind of character. Yeah. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, because sort of what's happening in the movie is that the overseer is getting ready to retire, and he wants the Loeb, who's a super criminal who's worth billions of dollars, to give him his money.
Yeah,
and of course, we know that probably there's a chance that Bruce Willis's character, if he's a supervillain, he's got something up his sleeve for, he's not just going to give his money willingly to Rooker, and so that's kind of where the tension comes in.
Well, see, it's nice to see him back. Rooker and Bruce Willis. I didn't watch White Elephant yet, but they're like kind of in the same scene in this one. I actually it didn't look like they were, but
no, they were in the same scene, but not the same shot, right?
I think they were in the same shot. I was watching very intently, like, I'm gonna say maybe one shot. It's like
right, exactly.
Like, it was shot in darkness, so like, well, you can do that.
Well, and that's the thing too, is you never know, right? When you think they're in the same shot, because I was thinking about this too with the movie Cartels that has Steven Seagal and Luke Goss.
And George's St. Pierre.
Right, George, exactly. There's a scene in that interrogation room where they're in the same shot, Willis and Luke Goss. But you wonder if it's kind of like, when you'd watch an old sitcom or something, or, an old a drama where a character's twin shows up, and they just sort of splice the film together to put them in the same shot.
Yeah, it did look like that, but I was it too lazy for old Seagal to be in the same shot for a second? I mean,
exactly.
We can talk about that one when we do our no subject thing.
Yes.
Oh, well, tomorrow. I mean, it's December 10th, 2022 now, if you want to date it. But
yeah, we'll be recording. Yeah.
Seagal will be back shortly.
Now, this movie does actually have a connection to Seagal. The prison that they use in Corrective Measures was the same one that was used in Maximum Conviction, which is
maybe
Keone
that
Waxman.
looks familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. The difference is I think it was darker in that one.
He sure was.
Yeah. That was also
it turned off all the lights.
Michael Paré film. So strange they didn't make either of our Paré lists when we did that episode.
I remember he was in it. I mean, that's something. So that's.
Yeah. So that's one connection. I would say. I mean, I don't know that this movie is better than Maximum Conviction. I don't know, because I think it's unique, right? Because it has a little bit more going for it than the average Willis film. But like you said,
that's the problem. I mean, with this one, if Bruce Willis didn't have his issues, I think he would have had a really good time playing this role.
Yeah,
he could have played he just needed more energy to it. He was so sluggish. And then that's what I wrote down in my notes. Like, you're just sluggish. You just doesn't care again. I can't be in his head, but I feel like if let's just say he made this movie around, I don't know, 99 with Rooker and all stuff, I think he would maybe be like over the top a little bit, more fun, because it's a fun idea for Bruce Willis to be like reading minds.
Yeah. This would have been, you're absolutely correct. Like, this would have been a great 90s kind of blockbuster actioner with Willis, Rooker. I'm trying to think who else we might have in it. Like Tom Cavanaugh's character wouldn't be played by him because he wasn't big at that time. I'm trying to think.
He's busy on Ed, very important.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I was trying to think who, would it be like a Jim Carrey kind of character or somebody like that would have, but like that kind of big budget thing where you've got those kinds of roles in a movie like this. It would have kind of fit in the sense of maybe like a Barbed Wire or a Tank Girl.
Or that would be good. Or maybe in a way The Rock, because it's set in prison.
Yes.
And and Bruce Willis would play the Ed Harris role.
Yeah.
And then you get Nicolas Cage and I don't know, who'd we say?
Yeah.
But,
well, Rooker, we still got to give Rooker.
Yeah, we get Nicolas Cage and Rooker.
Yeah.
And Bruce Willis as Ed Harris as General Hummel, whatever his name was, in The Rock. Why do I remember that? But see, that would be cool. And he'd read minds. It would be like slightly supernatural.
Yeah.
And that would be Corrective Measures.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, it's like, well, it's kind of just a movie on a screen. I mean, but Rooker was carrying it. And I do like most of the movie. It's just news reports about the prison.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's like, what if they do that now? It's like the prison news. Is that what they have to do? New York Supermax prison reports. It's just like,
exactly. Well, and I mean, I guess I looked into a little bit about the graphic novel it was based on. So it's this independent publisher, Arcana. So like they probably, for them, I think they've done a few things with Image Comics. So, of course, Spawn and that, Image, and obviously Walking Dead is big with Image. So I think they've done some crossovers with them, but I think this is a property that I think would have probably, like, I was looking at their properties that they had on their website, and this was probably like the best one that would have been a movie adaptation. But the problem is exactly kind of what you're saying, is that one, it has like a Suicide Squad feel to it.
It was like watching the Suicide Squad section of jail. It was
right, exactly. The jail part of the movie is just like if Suicide Squad was like multiple parts and they just did the jail for an hour and 45 minutes, that's the problem. And I think also too, prison movies just naturally have issues to them, right? Because
100%, because that's it. And maybe you could be outside the prison for like a second, like they are at the end. That's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
I still like that it's still a Tubi original, so I'm hopefully Tubi makes more movies.
Yeah,
because they must have a lot of money. I mean, maybe you have the pro subscription?
No, there is no pro subscription. It's always just ads with them.
Oh,
yeah.
They told me to sign in for like put it in my queue and have a pro subscription.
Right. So you have to sign in with Tubi because if you have an account with Tubi, you can create your list, but also too, if you sign in, it saves your progress. So like if you're watching a slog and you need to stop and come back to it.
I don't sign in. I just press the app. So I just have to remember if I have to stop it. Like,
where you were
2 minutes in. Yeah, I'll remember. It's like, what's funny is that when they're doing these prison news reports, is you got Michael Rooker and the other box. It's like, I mean, it's kind of funny to me. You always see these boxes. It's like, Loeb. It's just like,
exactly.
I mean, he was really, really good at it. I thought, well, he's always good.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the problem with this movie, is that maybe the limitations that it had between, the limitations with Willis that we just know about, the budgetary limitations that make it so it can only exist in this prison. I think those things hurt what would have been. I think on the whole, this is like these characters and this idea might be something that would have been maybe a good antidote to like the big Marvel movie that we could have potentially enjoyed. And I think
because it's like almost like, what's about 3 or 4 steps up of an Asylum movie?
Right.
I mean, I know because Asylum, like there's that movie called Top Gunner, that's Eric Roberts. That's probably worth talking about on a podcast.
Yes.
I think we did talk about maybe doing that if we're running out of Willis's, but for now, free Willis's.
Right. Well, because I mean, I think this is a movie. I think in terms of Willis's, I think the big problem with Corrective Measures for this podcast, unfortunately for us, is we didn't realize by pairing it with Wrong Place that we were going to be in trouble, because I think if we had paired, like if this had been on the same episode as American Siege, I think
it's a good point. Should have Corrective Measures, American Siege, Wrong Place, Day to Die.
Right.
How did we know?
You never know what these Willis is. It's definitely a flip. It's like with the soccer with World Cup, where they go to penalty kicks, and it's just like you never know who's going to win with penalty. It's like with a Bruce Willis film. It's like because my buddy was asking me about the games that were yesterday. He's like, who do you think is going to win this game? And I was like, I don't have a coin to flip, And I think with a Willis movie, it's the same idea. It's like, how do you think this Willis movie is going to be? I know. I need a coin. Point. I need some change.
Exactly. I love that line from New Jack City, right? Sit your $5 ass now where I make change. It's like, that's funny. I mean, I butchered it, but I mean, like, it's still funny because it's classic Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes needs to make a comeback in these straight to videos, by the way.
Yeah, he was great in them. I mean,
because you have Snipes, and Snipes has it.
Yes.
Bruce Willis had it, but he's lost it, unfortunately. But Wesley Snipes still has it. I think if you could just make some more straight to video garbages.
Right.
I mean that in the nicest way possible, but I think we have something there because you had that great run. You had The Marksman, and then you had 7 Seconds.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other? The Detonator, and Unstoppable. Then all my memory.
Art of War 2. He did the sequel,
Art of War 2,
which was good. Yeah.
Oh, what's the other one I'm thinking of? Game of Death.
Yes.
And I'm thinking of one more.
There's
Chaos.
Chaos, with what's his face? I think Chaos was that directed by Guy Ritchie, or I don't know how to state them in it.
It's Statham, and Wesley Snipes and Ryan Phillippe.
Ryan Phillippe, that's right. Okay.
It's a good movie, actually. It's a good kind of semi-medium budget action heist movie. Worth watching if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've seen, because I reviewed it for the site, because I was doing, trying to do all those the Snipes direct-to-video ones, and you're right. Like, I mean, imagining Snipes as the Loeb.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like Blade-ish, and people would like that.
Yeah.
And you got something there.
Yeah, because think of his villain in oh no, why am I drawing a blank on the Stallone movie that he did?
Backtrace? No, just kidding.
Well, from the 90s, Demolition Man.
Yeah, very Demolition. That'd be perfect. He would be like Simon Phoenix.
Yes. So, yeah. Cold as Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah. He has this hilarious, like, Dennis Rodman hair and pants.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, imagining, because Rooker was so great in this. And again, I think like you said, Willis. I mean, Willis was good, but he had limitations. I mean, Snipes and Rooker just going back and forth at each other.
Dynamite. I think you have something there. And Rooker still has, he looks pretty good for his age. He could probably do some fight scenes.
Yeah.
I could totally see this. Now that's an idea. I mean, and did you see Armed Response has Wesley Snipes?
That one I haven't seen yet. I think it's on Tubi. I've been meaning to.
What's funny about that is I have it on DVD, and I got it for like $1 at Goodwill. So it has him, and then also has Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
Now, Gene Simmons is not wearing his hairpiece, so it's just like it's very obvious that he now wears a hairpiece, or he did, because he's completely bald in it. And in the behind the scenes, it's like, I'm Gene Simmons, I'm in the Armed Response. No Snipes footage, no any footage. I think even Anne Heche is hanging around in it.
She is, the now late Anne Heche. Yeah, she's in it as well.
It's set in one location too, actually. Armed Response, set in a prison, like Zoomax, but that made me think of it. But it's okay if you can watch it for like free on Tubi.
Yeah, it's on Tubi, Freevee, whatever.
Freevee.
Yeah, Tubi, Plex. It doesn't say Pluto, but it's interesting. I don't know if you've noticed this, that like with these movies, some of them are on everything. And then some of them are on like one, but like just the Roku channel or just Plex or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna jump to the hoops for Plex. I'll stick to Tubi or Hulu, Amazon. Well, Amazon doesn't have these things anymore. Yeah. They used to. Remember they had like a lot of these goofy movies.
Yeah.
And
some of them are still free on Prime, but yeah, you're right. It's like
Well, because go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it used to be that if Tubi had it, that Prime had it too, and that's not always the case anymore.
That's a good point. And then I did watch something silly on Amazon Prime, which was Dark Avenger. It's a TV movie from the 90s, or maybe late 80s or 90s. It has Robert Vaughn as the police commissioner, so that's why I pressed play. And Hector Elizondo, he's like evil. It's not really much of a spoiler. So it's like RoboCop meets Darkman. So that's what it was. It's pretty fun. It's only 85 minutes.
Wow, and it's on Prime.
It's on Prime, so watch for free. It's fun. If you kind of turn off your brain, like, okay, this is a Darkman knockoff.
Yeah.
It delivers enough. It's like I had some work to do, but I also just goof around, so I just watched it.
Yeah.
So, The Corrective Measures, I guess, if you, because that's the number one thing you see on Tubi. By the way, it's Corrective Measures. Like it says Tubi original. So
they're trying to push those.
It.
I know there's one with DMX that's like 2 hours long, which I haven't watched.
Wait, what's that one? Is that?
Good question. Let me see what it's called here. I think if I type in DMX, right, he shows up. Yeah, he does. Okay, I was wondering with Tubi
what's Earl Simmons up to today?
Right, exactly.
Well, he passed away, but I mean, like, so
Fast Vengeance, I believe it's called. Yes, it's an hour and 55 minutes.
Oh, you mentioned that hour and 55 minutes.
Yeah, it's also got Bai Ling. Is this the right one? Oh no, that's on Shout Factory. That's not the right one. Okay, so
I can do Shout Factory. I could do the tubes.
Yeah. Like, what is it called then? If it's not that, I feel like it's Fast Vengeance, but I'm.
That sounds familiar. Maybe if Ryan Will says we can do maybe Fast Vengeance or Top Gunner, like that. While we wait for Wire Room and Salvage Salvation to be free.
Right. So oh, it is on Tubi. Okay, it is available on Tubi, so it must be a Tubi original. It must be just.
Because do you remember when DMX was doing these bad movies too in the mid 2000s? Remember this? It was like, I can't remember. Oh, Lords of the Street. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No, but I've heard of it.
And there's another movie, I forget the title right now, but it's just they cut DMX like talking onto a screen. It's very Albert Payun, also
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
So, and it was funny, like it's like DMX just ranting about stuff. It's really funny.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is comedy gold right now.
Yeah. I mean, DMX was like, I think the DMX thing, right, was that like, I mean, one, of course, like there was a whole thing of rappers that they were, that were being turned into actors because, it had worked for like, for Ice Cube,
And Ice-T.
Ice-T. But yeah, probably Ice-T is the biggest example, right?
But not the other Ice, which is Vanilla Ice.
Right. Vanilla Ice, unfortunately, didn't work out. Yeah.
Didn't make it. But I wish he had one more chance. Maybe Cool as Ice too.
Yeah. I would love to see. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see him in stuff more. Like, I think he could do it, but I wonder though, like, because of the way, he had to act as himself in Cool as Ice. I wonder if he can only play that character.
Yeah, no, I don't think he could pull it off. But it'd be funny if they actually made of out irony.
Yeah.
Cool as Ice 2. Maybe call it Cool as Ice 2 0 degrees or something.
Yeah.
And it's like
below freezing.
Then below freezing. Perfect. Cool as Ice 2, below freezing. And he's just a washed up guy now, trying to get his life back together.
That would
like
be
there's
amazing.
that movie with Brendan Fraser where he's like fat.
Yes.
Like The Whale or something like that. So what? He has a bunch of fat padding and then he looks sad.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, that looks perfect. You should go right to our libraries.
Yeah.
And it's like, because would you want to trek out to the theater for that? I don't know. But I do want to mention something else that's surprising that's going to the theater, which is Cocaine Bear.
Yes.
That looks like a hit. I mean, hey, that's another R.I.P. Well, R.I.P. is Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
And did you watch the trailer for that? It looks fun. I mean,
yeah.
You got my Coke or whatever. It's like, I think that's what's going to happen at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming he gets killed by the bear, I assume. But it's like, he'll probably say that, this bear's got my Coke. It's like, so it's like
Sharon, the bear's got my Coke.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that'd be hilarious, too. Yeah, Sharon. See, why
Karen,
does he talk like that when he can sing normally? But
yeah, I said it's Karen from it's good.
Oh, you're thinking of Sharon from Ozzy Osbourne. Why does Ozzy Osbourne sing perfectly normal but then talk like a goof?
Well, because I think they said he had a doctor who had him on like all kinds of like sedatives or something, and that's why he was like so horrible on the show. Was that like I think
I watched his reality shows, but I haven't got to that yet because I just don't really care. I'm not a fan of Jack Osbourne, so like Kelly Osbourne is probably funny. It's but Jack Osbourne, you're just kind of a nothing to me. Right. But I guess we should go to our last thing, which is two Bruces and a Dolph.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess Corrective Measures. I don't know if there's anything else in there except. I mean,
would you recommend it? That's my question. It's like,
it's. So I think from a Bruce Willis standpoint, right? This is not your standard Emmett Furlow Oasis like throw in, throw Bruce Willis in, have him sit behind a desk with a badge and.
Well, I missed that. I like seeing the badge, but I guess not this time.
So this isn't that kind of movie, and I think in that sense, if you're looking for something a little different, I think if the runtime was shorter, I think I'd be able to say more like, once you get over 100 minutes, and this is an hour and 45.
Yeah, I felt it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with this movie, and maybe what they should have done. I don't know. The other thing too is it is for all the uniqueness and all the new stuff it brings to the table, it is still at its core a prison slog, and. Yep. I just think prison movie, it's hard to, we were talking about syndicated TV earlier, an episode of a syndicated TV show that's like 42 minutes long is really great for a prison slog, right? You can do 42 minutes in a prison. I think that's maybe the limit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Once you get past that, it's just the repetition of, characters do things, guards beat them up. They get
and they get all the cliches there, like, of course, end of the line.
Right. Yeah, all that stuff. You've seen all of this stuff before, and the special abilities that they have isn't enough, I don't think.
And they're all muted special abilities too because of the budget problems. So you don't really care. Again, I know we had two mediocres, unfortunately, but I guess this was the better one. If I had to choose. Just barely because I had Rooker, and Rooker carried a lot. Ashley couldn't carry wrong place.
Right.
But Rooker can. Rooker he's carried a lot of things, so he can carry this again. So
Yeah, Rooker is good here, and it is unique. I guess that's the one thing. This doesn't have the Emmett Furla like I don't know if stink is the right word, but the Emmett Furla vibe, I guess is maybe a better word. Like
almost, I would say that I needed it, but it almost did.
yeah,
I get it. I mean, like trying to do something different. I mean, it's hard to make a prison movie that's not like Death Warrant.
right,
That's or Hard Justice is mostly in the prison. So
yeah,
because those just had like nonstop beat 'em ups, or Blood Fist 2, I guess, or 3.
yeah,
2 and 3.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Blood Fist 3 because you've got Richard
Forced to
Roundtree.
Fight. Yeah, that was good.
It's hard to do a good prison movie. I mean,
Yeah.
Blood Fist, Bloodsport 4, right, where you've got the Dark Kumite with Ben Franklin. I mean,
but
again,
we're talking about that off air. I know that our buddy, not buddy, but our Trump, he's a fan of that, right? So it's like,
exactly.
or that's Bloodsport, but like, believe me, Bloodsport 4. No, it's what is it? Blood Fist 4. I don't remember which ones. Bloodsport 4, the Dark Kumite. Love Dark Kumites. Okay, so it's like he doesn't like regular Kumite, just Dark Kumites.
Yeah, he's a big fan. Yeah,
big fan of Ben Franklin. Okay, I totally catch you off, Matt. Okay, Bob. I gotta talk about Ben Franklin. He's on the dollar bill, maybe. So it's like I don't know which bills I use. Okay, I use Trump money. So it's like, I bet he does. Like I bet he has like his own like Trump money. That kind of like Itchy and Scratchy land. It's like, I get some Itchy and Scratchy bucks. Oh, okay. Nuts. So it's like,
I bet you anything. Yeah, if you were a contract with him, you'd be like, yeah, here you go. Here's 100 million Trump bucks. And
you're 100 million Trump bucks. You get one free burrito bowl at Mar-a-Lago, maybe, if I don't take it first. Okay. So it's like,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he paid you in Trump bucks. And so, that's the thing I've always thought about, because they always talk about like people who worked with him, they're having trouble finding work now.
Yes. Yeah, it's like you see. There's an old show. Oh, great! Now I forgot the name of it. Oh, Trial Watch. Do you remember this show? And he used to talk about Trump a lot, about like not paying his like scaffolding people or whatever.
Yeah.
It might be on YouTube. You should check out this show. It's kind of fun because it's all a bunch of different court stories.
Oh yes,
and it's really fun. I would check it out. There's a DVD of 4 episodes of it, which is really interesting.
Yeah, they say that like he doesn't, because I've always thought about that. Like if Trump's people came to me and said, hey, 80 grand, we'll pay you 80 grand a year to do whatever, I'd be like, I could use that kind of money, and I would, but then it's
here's my bank account number,
right?
Make sure it goes in.
Right, exactly. Like, would you actually pay it? Right, that's the problem. It's like, and so then it's like you work for him, you get like that bad thing on your resume that's hard to get more work, but then also you don't get paid. So
I know, it's a double whammy. I mean, like, it's so tempting to keep doing the impression the whole time. I'll try not to do it.
That's okay.
I mean, it's like, I love scaffolding. I can just do anything. It's terrible. Mar-a-Lago needs a lot of work. Okay.
It's like, one thing I was thinking of, you mentioned the burrito bowl. Like, I can just imagine going to Mar-a-Lago with the ticket for the burrito bowl, and the person being like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't know what that is. We can't accept that."
Oh, you don't even know what that is? Yeah, I never heard of that. Oh, wait, I shouldn't be saying that. I heard the burrito bowl because I make it myself. It has Trump bucks in it. So it's like, but I guess we should go to our last movie, which we'll probably enjoy, but will involve an impression.
Yeah, so we've got some Section 8 here. So
let's talk some Section 8.
And I think what's interesting about Section 8 is that we both happen to watch this, and generally we don't get a chance to watch a new Dolph because you get to pay money for it, and it kind of worked out for us.
That's true.
Yeah. Now, before we get too deep into it, we have a special guest who he is available. He's been kind of patiently hanging on the line while we were talking about our 2 Willis films.
Very patient.
Yeah, okay. So I appreciate. So Dolph, welcome to the Direct to Video Connoisseur podcast.
Thank you, Matt. I've been waiting a long time to be on this show. Okay.
Yes. Well, we've been very excited to have you. So I guess the first question is Section 8. You get the script for this. Were you thinking like maybe it was going to be like you as like a single father raising kids in government subsidized housing? Like, what did you think when you heard Section 8?
I actually thought it was going to be like a special drama about that. Okay. But it's not. I'm working with Dermot Mulroney of my favorite movie.
Yeah,
my best friend's wedding.
I was gonna say, what was that like finding out that you were working with him?
I must break Dermot. That's what I did not say to him. So, I like, he has a great beard in it. Sorry to
No, Dolph, we had an idea for a movie. I don't know what you think about this.
Okay.
You and Owen Wilson switch voices. It would be called voice swap.
I'm a big fan of that idea. Wow. I just talked to Owen just now. He's doing great, by the way. We've been stretching our voices a lot. But Section 8 housing, that's actually a good idea. It's like,
Now, I guess the final question, we'll get you out of here on this one, Dolph. When you first heard about Section 8, you got on the set, were you surprised Bruce Willis wasn't in this movie?
I was very surprised. I guess he was working on Corrective Measures. I know we just talked about that, or you did. It's just like, it's a good movie. If done Tubi. Just like...
well, thanks, Dolph. Thanks for stopping by. It was great having you on here.
Though. See me on Cameo. It's like...
Yeah, I think I've got the $500 to get your... Maybe I'll have my somebody in my family. I'll kind of I'll do a GoFundMe so I can get a message from you on Cameo.
That's a great idea. I'll give you half off.
Thanks, Dolph.
You're welcome. It's like, I think we were talking about Section 8 before we had that guest there. It's like,
yeah. And so, I'm sorry, Ty. I didn't mean to bogart the interview.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, kind of some of the stuff we were chatting about there with Dolph.
I think you want to talk about Ground Force. I'm back. Actually, did you want to talk about Ground Force? It's like, I'll come back later. It's like,
yeah, we'll have to have him back on to discuss Ground Force.
I'll come back.
For sure. but yeah, I mean, did you kind of feel the same way about Section 8, that it felt like it should have had Bruce Willis in it?
Well, yes. I mean, here's a little bit, but here's what's funny about Section 8, which is there's two things you kind of forget that Scott Adkins and Mickey Rourke did it.
Yes.
It's like Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
Or Maki Rourke when I was trying to type it into my notes and then it went to autocorrect. Yeah. It's like Maki Rourke. It's like, I guess you can make fun of him and call him Maki Rourke, but Mickey Rourke does nothing in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott Adkins beats up some people in a casino and then he's gone for a really long section.
Yeah. I
forgot. Oh, right. You have to beat up Scott Adkins.
Yeah.
We can talk about the plot a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do a quick synopsis here because there isn't a lot with this. You have an actor named Ryan Quanten who...
yeah, I've heard of him. I mean, he's in this movie called Red Hill.
Yeah.
It's talked about a guy who made Expendables 3. It's good low-budget Western.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he plays... as we usually get in these movies, a former special forces guy who's, has a beard. He has a beautiful wife and a kid, and he's working for his uncle Mickey Rourke, who owns an auto body shop.
Auto mechanic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But first he's in Iraq, right, or Afghanistan, right? And he's with Dolph.
Yes, exactly. So Dolph is like his colonel from Afghanistan, and and so then what is Robert Lasardo, character actor Robert Lasardo. He's playing like the head of a gang in that Riverside area who they try to shake down Rourke for money, and then they go to Quanten's house. They kill his wife and son, and so then for revenge, Quanten goes and kills Robert Lasardo and gets put in jail for life, which again is a crazy concept that like any judge would be like, oh yeah, you killed the person that killed your wife and son. Yeah, you're going to you get first degree murder for that.
That's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, I think aggravated manslaughter might be the tops there. But while he's in prison, Dermot Mulroney runs this like special forces.
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing that he's in this movie, and he looks hilarious with his bow tie and his goatee beard.
His goatee beard, yeah. The goatee beard is the most fascinating thing because it's like all white in the beard area, and then the mustache.
Yeah.
It's like, did he use like Grecian formula on just the mustache part or something?
And he adds the bow tie and almost suit, and like he steals this movie, by the way.
Yes,
I mean like. He's really, really good. And I've been saying this already, but I think he's resigned himself to being in these straight-to-videos.
Yeah.
It's like, and it took long enough. I think he really missed out on an action career.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree there.
Huge disappointment. I mean, like, because he has it for the most part, but he's perfect for these movies now, which is even funnier.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're in these now? It's like...
Exactly.
Why? Yes. Why are you in Section 8?
Yeah.
It's
yeah, it's fantastic. And so he this character who's in jail, Dermot Mulroney gets him out to be a part of this Section 8 group, and then of course he finds out that Section 8's not really good.
Yeah,
and
it's not all that's cracked up to be.
So now he tries to take him down, and of course Dolph is like in it, is Dolph there to help him out, take him down?
I'm Tom Mason. I'm
Brian
Quanten.
Right,
okay,
exactly.
I'm back on the show. Hello.
And
but
then,
it's like,
and then it's kind of like, by the way, Scott Adkins plays an assassin who works with Dermot Mulroney, and that's it. That's your movie.
By the way.
Yeah.
That's such a great point. That's like, Scott Adkins.
Yeah. It's almost like that movie Zero Tolerance that speaking of chaos, right? Chaos.
Director named Chaos.
Yeah, he made like another movie called Angels, and I guess it didn't do well, so he recut the movie and added in Scott Adkins scenes and repackaged it as Zero Tolerance.
That's what it looked like here. Just that they smush him into this movie chasing Quanten.
Right, exactly.
That's about it.
Yeah. Oh, like, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, Scott Adkins. Yeah. Like I really forgot that he was in it when I was watching it.
Right, because this is another movie that has ending padding because you get to it has a very clean and fine ending, but then I guess it's like Chekhov's Adkins. Like you can't have Scott Adkins in the beginning of the movie and not use him at the very end. So he had to come in at the end and pad out the ending of the movie
Right, that's a great point. And like this, I enjoyed the fight between Quanten and Atkins, but I mean, like I think it's time to wrap this up because I think it was about an hour and 45.
Yeah,
and
it was like, close. Hour 40 or something. Yeah.
And I need more Dolph, obviously. Yeah. What Dolph you get was pretty good. I'll take what I can get. It's like it's just kind of funny. Like it's almost it's on AMC Plus. It's also kind of interesting too. Like how did it make it to AMC Plus? It's actually a movie that would be on Tubi. It's just
because it's available to rent on the other places, and so that's how I got it. Was it's a $3.99 rental with Xfinity, but because of that deal they're doing this month, I got it for $1. So that's why I was able to get it.
It's worth $1. I mean, I thought the beginning was a little shaky.
Yeah.
But then it got better as it went along, and especially with all the Dermot stuff.
Yeah. Well, because go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm saying that if you want to watch this movie, just watch it for Dermot Mulroney because he really kind of puts in a fun performance. It's kind of over the top.
Because this is almost a Bruce Willis movie. Only Dermot Mulroney's playing the Bruce Willis part.
Bruce Willis was feeling better, and he did the Dermot Mulroney. I think he would do a good job because he would be yelling and screaming like, "Where is Quanten?" Because he kind of yelled about Zach Morris and Precious Cargo.
That's right.
Where's Precious Cargo? Well, that's not his name, but it's like, where's Zach Morris? Get me Slater and Screech on the line, and Lisa Turtle.
Yeah,
but it's like that would be amazing. I think there's that movie with Robert De Niro called The Bag Man. Do you ever see this? It has
I haven't seen it, but I've seen it on I think it's got Cusack, right?
Yeah, Cusack. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw it a few years ago, whenever it came out, but De Niro talks about Full House.
Does he?
I got to rewatch it because I want to double check that.
That's amazing.
Maybe that was just like in my head somehow. I think he talks about Full House.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we all love Uncle Jesse, Uncle Hermes.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't seen all the Full House episodes, but I remember that part. But wait, I gotta go back to Section 8. So then there's a good fight between Quanten and Atkins. I guess I'd recommend this one. Actually, I would give it a recommend. Watch it for $1, or if you have AMC Plus.
Yeah, I think the problem for me with this movie is that, again, like going on the Willis paradigm, where it's like you've got this white guy with a beard who grimaces a lot. That was like former special forces
grimacing by Quanten.
Right. Who's never really done action stuff before, and it's like all of these movies have this character. And
That's a great point.
Yeah, what is it about that character? Like one, because the only time he's not a white guy is like we talked about. I think it's these movies like Wrong Place or Out of Death, where you have a woman playing the part. But for the most part, it's either, if it's not Quanten, right? I mean, Mark Paul Gosselaar had to have a beard for that character.
Exactly.
Jesse Metcalf, right, has to have a beard for that character in the grimacing.
And I think Morris had a beard,
Exactly, Morris, right? Yeah, he had a
Morris.
Beard. Right. I think what's his name? I'm trying to think of some of the other people who played these parts.
Lutz didn't have a beard in then Extraction, I don't think. Or maybe he had kind of like 5 o'clock shadowy kind of thing.
That's right. Lutz did not have the beard, so that's a good one.
No. But he almost did.
Yeah. And most of them, it's a bearded guy, a bearded white guy who's a former special forces guy who's got a beautiful wife, a nice
Right.
house with a kitchen island, usually something like that. It's kind of all of that stuff, and it's like every time it's that character. And I've always wondered, I mean, are there focus groups of people like us who watch these movies who all say, yeah, that's what we want our hero to look like? Because
I guess because
yeah,
it's like it all looking kind of, and then you don't remember what movie that is. We just talked about a couple of examples, but you know what I mean. Like, wait, what's that movie again? I can't remember. It's just like, like here's some examples. Nope. Then you draw a blank.
Right. You can't think of the name. And the funny thing, this was directed by a guy named Christian Sesma, who he did a movie called Payback, or Pager. Sorry, not Payback.
Oh, because there's a movie called Pager. Is that the one with Val Kilmer and Neil Hirsch?
Yes.
I didn't see that yet.
Yeah, Luke Goss is in it. And so it's a little bit of a different one in the sense that it doesn't have the same paradigm. It's got more going for it. I mean, it had a twist in the end that almost like kind of made the movie not, like why did the movie even happen if with the twist that they made? But for this guy Sesma, he's not really like your standard like Emmett Furla kind of movie maker. He makes stuff that's like a little bit different, a little bit more outside of the box with that kind of stuff. And this just felt like a standard. I mean, it's not produced by Emmett Furla Oasis. It's not their kind of movie, but it felt exactly like that kind of movie. And I don't know if maybe the film was taken away from him, but I mean, there's no way that you can make a movie with a bearded white guy, like, actor who doesn't do action as your star. There's no way you can do that movie and not have it be in the Emmett Furla Willis paradigm.
I mean, this one tried a little bit harder, but I was watching it like, okay, this isn't good. Mickey Rourke does nothing. From Point Blank to this, that's terrible, Mickey. Come on, or Maki now. I'm calling him Maki Rourke.
Maki Rourke, yeah.
I know it's so funny when you just write stuff really quickly in your notes on your phone, and it's like, hey, man, Mickey, but Point Blank. Well, that's not that great either. But I'm just kidding. It's just like. Point Blank to Section 8. If you look at Mickey Rourke's career now, it's really not great.
Yeah.
He's really fallen off since I guess Iron Man 2 or Expendables. I don't think he cares.
No.
It's like he hasn't cared at all. He's one of the first people who didn't care.
Yeah. I wonder if for him getting in Iron Man 2, right? Because the comic book Marvel movie blockbuster, to be a character in one of those, whether it's a hero or a baddie, and like you said, Expendables comes out the same year. I wonder if for him, and then also, 2 years before that, right, he does The Wrestler. So where I think he was nominated for an Oscar for that. So it's like almost like a sense that within that 2 year span, he was able to maybe prove to himself that he still has it. And so now it doesn't really matter. Like,
no, he doesn't care anymore at all.
No, he doesn't. Right. It's almost like he doesn't like that movie War Pigs. The guy who made that film, he was on Sean Malloy's I Must Break This podcast, and Sean asked him about the character. So in that movie, Rourke plays a colonel that wears a cowboy hat. And
of course he does.
Yeah, and he asked him, he said, was that in the script, or was that something where Mickey Rourke shows up with a cowboy hat and you just had to go with it? And he said it was the second thing. Mickey Rourke showed up with a cowboy hat and we just had to go with it. So
that's funny. Well, because he does it all the time.
Right, exactly. I think it tells you all you need to know there.
I could see. It's very, very. Mickey Rourke is a weird dude, I guess, but it's because he's made a lot of these movies in the past. Let's say I would say 7-8 years are all bad or not. Yes. Junky. What's not Trauma? What's it called? It's like not called Trauma, but it has a gunpoint trauma. Let me try to get
Blood Force Trauma. Blood Force
Trauma. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
it's like I watched it. Oh, Mickey Rourke's in this. Oh, he's wearing a cowboy hat. He's looking silly. And of course, not forget about Skin Traffic, which could be his best work.
Right.
Where he's looking like Jerry Lewis, and it's like,
and
it's like, or overweight, like that kind of overweight Jerry Lewis that he was for a while.
Yes, at the end there.
Like,
yes. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and then, but I liked him in Skin Traffic. But what's good about Mickey Rourke is that he has it still, because he has the voice kind of.
Yeah.
And it's funny to watch Mickey Rourke in these kind of silly movies. Like, why are you in these? You should be in, like the Brad Pitt, where you could just make a movie.
Yeah.
And it would be in the theater.
Yeah.
But then, he used to have that, I guess. And I remember back in the day, this is in 2002, I said this to Brett. It's like that. Mickey Rourke's going to make a comeback. I have a feeling. And then he did with The Wrestler.
Yeah.
And then now he fell off again. And then now I don't even care if he makes a comeback or not.
Well, because you know what he did recently? I didn't even notice. He was in a movie called Berlin, I Love You in 2019, which is there's like a series of these, like New York, I Love You, Paris.
I've heard of that. France, maybe?
Yes, exactly. Paris, Je t'aime. Yeah.
Paris, yeah.
They get these directors to like all do like segments of it's like kind of a collection of movies. And so he's in this with a whole bunch of big names. I mean, Helen Mirren's in it, Keira Knightley, Luke Wilson's. So it's like he still has that ability to get into those kind of things. I wonder if from his standpoint, it's enough for him to know that like he can do that kind of thing, that he'll do these paycheck movies.
Yeah, he needs to put his mind to it, because it's like I think he just has to care more.
Right. Right.
But unfortunately, he does not.
No.
And it's like, and it's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been saying this for years now. Like, what's this new one he's making called Hunt Club? Yes. And it's like, okay, there's Mina Savari, Casper Van Dien, and Mickey Rourke, and guess he's wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're both wearing cowboy hats, Casper and Mickey.
Yeah.
So it's like that could be a good one, but it's like this is like, okay, get ready for to be on the podcast.
Right, exactly.
And then, but yeah, I guess I would overall recommend Section 8.
Yeah, I think what it is with Section 8, I think for people is one, if you're a Dolph Lundgren completist, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is worth checking out. I don't know about so much for Scott Adkins fans. I think.
Nice to see him, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you're thinking of Scott Adkins, Dolph Lundgren together, Castle Falls is a better one for that.
Yeah, still gotta watch that one. Still gotta watch Legendary. I know I've been sitting that one forever.
Legendary's rough. So Castle Falls is on Tubi. I don't know if Legendary still is or not. Legendary's rough.
It used to be hanging around, sit on it.
Yeah. But I think your point about the Dermot Mulroney factor, it makes this a very unique film.
This is why it's recommended for sure, because Dermot is now making these silly movies.
Yeah.
And like, for example, he made also Agent Game, which I want to see with Mel Gibson.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, he's finally resigned. So I've been saying.
Yeah. But I
that's
think
great.
I think that's enough for this. But I think you're right too. I think what we talked about, I think one, either if you know someone who has AMC Plus or you have it yourself, stream it that way. Yep. Or I don't think a full price rental is worth it, but $1. I mean, I guess
$4 fair.
Yeah, I mean, $4.
$4? I don't know. I know it sounds like we're being cheapos, but try to get it for $1 or less.
Yeah, I think when you think of $4, like, yes, $4 goes real quick at like Taco Bell, like I think like a chalupa is maybe like that much now or something.
Wow. Talk about inflation. You're going to get a chalupa for less than $4?
I think it's like $3.80 something for, depending on, I guess it depends on what you get on the chalupa maybe. I think it's like you get the Supreme.
Okay. We get like extra like in the chalupa Supreme. Okay.
Yeah. So right. So it's like when you're Taco Bell, you spend $10 easy to get a meal, and that's it. You've had your Taco Bell. Whereas like a movie, it's like trying to say like, is it worth a $4 rental? But I think you have to look at the fact that like it would be like if Taco Bell had a system, like if there was a version of Taco Bell where you could eat for free and watch commercials while you're eating. The fact that movies have that option means that the money is completely different, I think, if that makes sense.
No, I get that, because I feel like if I do Taco Bell in Section 8, I don't know. I guess like Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, like, especially basically that's the movie in a nutshell. I mean, like, it was a tough decision, but I'll take Taco Bell, I guess, because it's a bit more fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's still a good movie. I still like the movie. I mean, I'm just kidding around, but it's
no, but it's a good point. I think I don't know how many people that listen have AMC Plus for the Shudder factor.
Yeah, I don't know. Shudder. Yeah, because you buy it and you get AMC Plus kind of tacked on.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're in that boat, I think this would be worth checking out. Like if you're already subscribed to AMC Plus, I think this is worth watching it for that. I think for us, right, there's that added piece of it that like we can kind of make lemonade out of lemons, where we can get podcast material or blog post material, things like that out of a movie like this. So it has that added value. But I think the Dolph factor for Dolph completists, like this is, it's not going to make any top 10 Dolph list. I don't think it would make any of our unsung Dolph lists.
No, not at all. I think about maybe doing like unsung Dudikoff, by the way.
Yeah.
I know we did Dudikoff on your show, The Dude Abides.
Yes.
So.
But yeah, there's always more Dudikoff to be had, and Dudikoff is someone who he has kind of stopped working, and it looks like he's maybe trying to make a comeback. I'd love to see him in something like this, like
he should be in these Section 8 movies. That's a good point.
Yeah,
like
an Angry Colonel or something.
Yeah, really, that'd be great to see him again. He's just doing nothing. That's fine. He can do nothing, but
yeah,
at least he's still got Dolph. He's still got Dolph. He's still making these things. Maybe. I want to see Operation Seawolf, and I never said this last time, but I just haven't seen it for free yet.
Right, exactly. That one's still a rental. I did do Pups Alone. For people that are out there for Pups Alone, I had.
You have a Pups Alone update.
Yeah. Because Mitch from Video Vacuum. By the time this podcast is released, the Mitch from the Video Vacuum Christmas episode will already have been out.
Okay.
It's kind of like a tradition with him now, because I first had him on back when I first brought the podcast back. I think I had you guys on to talk about Reb Brown, and then I had him on to talk about, I think, DTV comic book movies, and we started talking about Elves because that's his favorite Christmas movie.
Well, it is a classic movie.
Yeah. It's funny because I don't think nobody else has reviewed it. I think Mitch is maybe the only one that we know of that's reviewed it. But the Haggerty and just I think alone, and the AIP factor, of course, too.
That's just a good one, because I watched a couple years ago and definitely delivered with all the silly elves being Nazis or whatever. It's just that might be a spoiler, but I mean, it's just something about that movie. You just kind of strap in. Okay, let's get silly.
Yeah.
It's like.
And so I've had him on now to talk about Christmas movies like the past couple of years. So he was on, I think it was not last year, but 2 years ago, I had him on to talk about Santa's Summer House.
That's right. I remember that one, yes.
Yeah, and so then I figured, well, Pups Alone was available free on the Roku channel, so let's do it. That one is a slog. It is a tough sit. I think, so if you're talking about a Dolph movie that you want to get, into right now, I think Section 8, whatever fault Section 8 had, I don't think it had a slog factor to it the way.
No, I think just the beginning.
Yeah.
And overall, then it got overall better.
But
just get through the beginning a little bit, and Dolph's in the beginning, and then then Quentin's hanging around with Mickey Rourke for and it's you don't really care.
Yeah.
But then it got better. But so Pups Alone, I mean, I guess I'll avoid it. I know we talk about this movie all the time, but
yeah, I mean, again, for if you're a Dolph completist, if you're like, I got to see all of Dolph's stuff, it's worth checking out. But it's a tough sit, and I think
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, Section 8 is like the kind of like Pups Alone is a tough sit for free. Like I'm saying, you don't spend any money on it, and it's still
a tough sit. You want your money back, they say. I got to free all my money back.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Section 8. I think you'd feel a little bit robbed if you spent $4 on it. I think
Well, exactly. Yeah. So I think most people want to watch these newer Dolphs. I would probably watch them for free.
Yeah. Exactly. So. Yeah, I think it helps because again, there isn't a lot of Dolph in this for Dolph fans. I think it's more like just from a completist standpoint to be able to see him. I mean, his character walks with a limp, so you get to see him do that bit of acting where he's
right, because he got a good shot.
Right,
but it's so.
Yeah.
He did a good job, and then he's in the kitchen, and he's doing all his dialogue stuff, which he pulls off, because I remember when Stallone's like, "What? He gave Dolph lines in movies?" It's like, well, Dolph can act. It's like,
oh yeah, no, he's definitely a good character in this, and I think
he could be a good character actor now. If he wants to be with some action stuff he has to do. He's wearing his Dolph suit at the end, and it's like, okay,
yeah, right, exactly.
You gotta love it. He's got.
Yeah,
he's so bulky, so it's just really funny. It's just
yeah, Dolph in a suit. Like when I think of the best Dolph was it was a movie that he did The Tracker, which was overall.
I still have to watch it. I don't. We can give me a spoiler. I don't really care.
No. Well, there's no spoiler necessarily because overall it's still a bit of a slog, but it has there's a scene where he's sitting at a cafe. And he's got the nice coat on with a scarf, and he's sipping espresso in Italy. And that was like kind of a great Dolph, like stylish kind of thing. I think, like you said, like with the suits, it's kind of difficult sometimes because he's so big, and
Yeah.
you really you have to spend a lot of money, I think, for Dolph. I don't think a movie that we watch has the budget to get a really good tailor to get a suit that looks good on him. I think when he gets his own suits, like when he does an award show or something, he
can get his own suits. But when you see a suit on him, it looks I just kind of laugh.
Right,
It's like you can't help but laugh. Or like any meathead in a suit. It's just like I'm called Dolph a meathead, but you know what I mean.
No,
Like let's say Duran McBee or whatever
Yes.
when in Mortal Kombat he's wearing that cummerbund tuxedo.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
That's
Yeah,
an outfit for the ages.
With PM Entertainment, they're like, okay, Duran McBee and Skyscraper, they're like, no, we're not going to do a suit. What we're going to do is the vest and pants of the suit with no shirt underneath and no coat. And
like we say, he's pulling a Lamas.
Right,
exactly. Lamas needs to come back. Why is he in these? He should be in Section 9.
Yes.
It's like,
yeah.
Where's Lamas?
Man? Yeah. That's a good question because you're right. I don't know. Do you still follow him on Instagram?
I think I do. Yeah, unless he went away. Like,
did he go
away?
Every once in a while you say, like, I think he was at Disneyland recently. I think that's what I saw.
Okay.
Like, it seems like he and his wife are traveling and doing stuff. So maybe he's not making movies. I don't know.
Well, do you remember when Dean Cochran wanted us to go to LA? The guy from Target of Opportunity, the actor.
Oh yes.
It's like, yeah, you can come by and visit me. He's like, I can visit Dean Cochran from Target Opportunity in LA. I'm just a fan, I guess. But it's like, do you really mean that? That seems that's pretty nice. It's like, I mean, like, I get my Target Opportunity signed. It's like, or as I used to call it, Target of Awesome-tunity. That's more of a when that came out, like, this is gonna be the best movie I've ever seen in my life. That's a very thing I say on the other podcast.
I mean, Lamas. That would be the best if he was just like, "Hey guys, come on out here to Disneyland and hang out with us." Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's like, well, when you made Bad Blood, did you jump over the car yourself?
Yes.
It's like when you made Viper. It's like that's the only question I'll ask.
Can you imagine?
You know what I did? I didn't need to springboard at all.
Yeah,
right. Goodbye. That really is like the pinnacle of awesome action is Bad Blood, or I watched the Viper version, but there's something there's that movie. Like there's like 5 really good 90s action flicks that has to be in the top 5.
Yeah. Lamas 90s DTV action. I mean, obviously, he was big with PM Entertainment, at the same time he's making Renegade, he's making these other movies, but
it's amazing. I mean, I'm still amazed by that. How do you do that?
I know.
It's not like he's going to testify at some trial like Billy D. Williams does in 18 Wheels of Justice. It's like he's actually on these episodes. Whoa. He must be working night and day.
Yeah, when we think, I think it's a thing that I think for people nowadays they kind of forget, or maybe I don't know, maybe they don't forget, but when we think of like that golden age of like kind of 80s into the 90s, like Lamas 90s direct to video was like he was a big piece of why the 90s worked with direct to video.
Because you have Lamas, and he's always kind of fun to watch, and you just can't help but enjoy it. And you got Renegade, and I bought the Immortal. I got somewhat of an okay deal online on it, so I'll watch it in the new year. And I'll keep you posted.
Yeah,
so,
I haven't seen that.
I watched Air America. I showed you that picture.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So now, how did that work? Was it Air America then the Immortal? Is that
I think it was. Oh, I don't remember, but I think it was Air. I think it was Immortal first, then Air America.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
And he's like reading a book in his journal, whatever, each episode. That's behind like a green screen of a plane. It's like it's not a bad show. I enjoyed it. So I'll watch The Immortal in the new year. I just don't have time this year, but I'll be good. And 22 more episodes of Lamas.
In terms of what Lamas is up to, there's a movie called Scorpion Girl: The Awakening that was made in 2020 that doesn't seem to have anything, like any release or anything. It's got Aki Aliong in as well, and then Donna Lee Heising. So it's kind of really on that low budget, but then there's Lamas in there. I'm wondering with some of these things if he's just like showing up for a minute and that's it. I don't know if there's a movie called Sons of Thunder that looks like a Christian series a Christian biker
Well,
series.
there's that old show, that spinoff of Walker Texas Ranger called Sons of Thunder.
Right, exactly, right. And this
that somehow came back. Everything's coming back these
Ethan
days.
Walker is the character. I wonder if they're bringing that show back because
No way.
Because I heard they were bringing back no, maybe not. It's the character just happens to be Walker, but it's also got Vanessa Angel from the Weird Science, the TV show.
Wait, Weird Science and Kingpin.
Yeah, Kingpin. That's right. Yeah. Don Swayze's in this as well, this TV series. So I don't know what
the
this
Walker
is on.
show that's on the CW.
No, so this is I guess the character just happens to be Walker. Maybe it just happens to be
Because
he's playing a character.
I watched it, but
yeah,
you know,
no, because
I hear there's no action in it, so I skipped it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't think this is. I think this is a coincidence that his character's name is Walker. That he's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the spinoff. So, yeah.
See, if I made a show, if I made like a Sons of Thunder or Walker Texas reboot or whatever, it had to be a guaranteed 2 seasons. Because I don't want it to get canceled.
No.
For a while. At least give me a year of enjoyment.
Yeah. I mean, all Walker Texas Ranger was Chuck Norris driving around in a huge pickup truck and just beating the crap out of people.
All 100+ episodes.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was. And you had the late Clarence Gilliard, who unfortunately
a lot of lates in this episode.
I know. We're
heavy on the lates.
A lot of people passing with us, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm looking at Lamas's bio, and I'm not. It's strange that I'm not seeing like the movies that you would see with everybody else in this period of these, like you look at Rourke's bio in this period, and you just see a bunch of like these direct-to-video things they're low budget, but they're not like so low budget, and they're like. People are starring in them with him, like maybe John Malkovich or Michael J. White or whoever. And I'm not seeing that with Lamas. And I wonder if maybe he's not bothering anymore with this stuff. I mean,
yeah, maybe he just doesn't care anymore. If I was Lamas, I'd I'd rest on my laurels.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
my Lamas laurels. So it's just, I would. I mean, he's good at fan conventions, sign some immortal DVDs. Sign those DVDs of just like 2 episodes of Renegade that people find sometimes.
Right.
It's like not the complete series because they're expensive.
Right.
So here's the 2 episodes you can find on a DVD. So
yeah, I mean, when you look at his IMDb bio, they have the 4 pictures that they have. And one of the 4 is the Renegade DVD set with him and Branscombe Richmond and Kathleen Kinmont. So they know where they're bred. I mean, he said it. Remember, he said on his Instagram that Reno Reigns was his Rocky.
That's true, and I would love to see a Renegade. Well, I don't want to see a Renegade reboot because you got 100+ episodes of enjoyment.
Yeah,
I don't want it to get sullied.
Yes.
But if you do it again, you just gotta have to have all 3. You can't have any goofy kids or something like that. Oh, I guess they would, right? It'd be like Renegade's kids or whatever, or Reno Reigns' kids, Vince Black.
Right.
And then it's like, which one? So it's like,
yeah. I mean, is Stephen J. Cannell still with us? Because I think
he's not. We're losing everybody.
Yeah, because I mean, Dutch Dixon was one of the best baddies on a TV series ever. Yeah,
we're very lucky. We're so lucky to even have this program for over 100 episodes. I mean, there were almost 150+ episodes of Lamas TV.
Yeah,
so I could be like, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, because there's something about it. So here comes some silliness. I'm really excited for the Immortal. It took me years. It took me 10, almost 20 years to try to get to this show.
Yeah, because I've seen some episodes. I remember it was on TV. I would catch episodes here and there. Mm-hmm. But I've never really watched it. Like I think I have to. I probably should go back and watch Renegade because it's been so long since I've watched that.
You can never go wrong with that.
No, I mean
ever.
And it's on like all the streamers for free. So
good. No, I just shell out the cat. Well, actually, it wasn't that much money. I got a good deal for it on Amazon. Back 10 years ago, when wasn't that popular. I think if I looked at it on eBay right now, it'd be like $150 or something.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I think I got it for about 40, which is the correct amount.
Yeah, because there was that period of time, like in the early 2000s, when everything was being put on DVD.
Yep, and now it's getting harder and harder to find those.
Yeah, I remember Miami Vice. For some reason, I did get season 4. I don't know why. I think it was one of those things where it was like I got 1, 2, and 3, and then when I was at the store.
What show again?
Miami Vice.
Miami Vice. Okay.
Yeah, and for some reason season 4 wasn't available, so I just picked up 5 while I was there. And then for a period of time, it was always on streaming. Like for a period of time, a lot of these shows were always on streaming, and now they've taken some of them away, like Miami Vice. So now I'm kind of stuck if I want to do a rewatch of Miami Vice because I've got 3 of the 4 seasons, and of course that season 4 one I think is again, like you said, it's expensive to find that.
I know it's really hard. I mean, like, I guess if I did that, like, I watched all those blind spots. Yeah. I watched all 3 seasons on DVD, and I jumped, or 4 seasons, I think. Then season 5, I jumped to Hulu or whatever. And first off, don't ever watch season 5 of Blind Spot.
Okay.
It was almost torture.
Yeah.
It was just like, I mean, the first season's good, and maybe the second season, and then after that, just jump, because season 5 is all bickering. Bicker spot, as I called it. So it's like, that's what it was. And I mean, it's still on today to turn the Blue Bloods, which if we're talking about Blue Bloods again, you might have to wrap up.
Okay.
I haven't watched this latest episode. I watched last week's. I don't remember what happened. I don't know what happened last week's Blue Bloods. I don't even remember. They had some food, I guess, at the end. The plots are just all nothing these days. Because it used to be Donnie Wahlberg, like he's killing people, he's beating up suspects, he's doing stuff. Madsen was on an episode.
Oh yes,
And then now it's just Donnie Wahlberg, the surface level tough. It's like, okay, dude, get me your phone, dude. And it's like, okay, let's wrap this up. It's been on for 12 years, and I think I talked about every episode of every podcast that Blue Bloods needs to wrap up. But I mean, if you're out of ideas,
do you kind of get the feeling, because I think this is kind of how I feel about some shows, where it's like you started with it and you've gotten this far.
Yes,
you
exactly.
You got to keep going. And I think a lot of these shows, I think they do. It's interesting. Like I wonder, like how many people give up on a show at a certain point and say, okay, I'm done with it, and how many people stick with it, and how much
try to make the commitment. You know, I mean, once Blue Bloods is done, hey, look, I watched all 15 seasons of Blue Bloods. Probably that's going to be the end of that. And then I still watch 911 and The Rookie.
Yeah.
And it's like 911 is now awful. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've watched that show. They must have cut the budget by like 65% or something, because there's nothing going on anymore of these wacky emergencies. It used to be like tsunamis and like earthquakes, and like look, there was money on the screen. Now it's just like Angela Bassett looking grumpy at a grill or whatever. It's like that's all you have. It's like
it's an interesting thing you mentioned. So I haven't watched much of 911, but one of the things about Fox, right, is that the TV and movie apparatus was bought out by Disney, and they've been, if you notice on Hulu, if you watch something like Prey, it's now 20th Century Studios, and I wonder if, because I heard Disney was losing money on certain things, like I think with the original programming, but I wonder if they were funneling money to shows like Andor and
that's a great point. But they're doing that.
Right. And so then, a show like, because I think one of the problems is with TV nowadays is that there's an assumption that nobody watches programming on actual TV, right? They always want to watch the streaming version of it and stuff like that. And so I wonder, like, from a market standpoint, like Disney's putting all this money into these Marvel and Star Wars TV shows, when a show like 911, that one, they get free advertising, or not free, but when they play football games, NFL games, it's like if you watch an NFL game on a Sunday, you get like time to watch 911 on Fox. Right, exactly. Every commercial break tells you about 911.
Yeah, it does.
And like I never would have known 911 existed if it wasn't for commercials during football games. So you're getting this free advertising that makes people say, like, hey, maybe I'll check this show out. And I wonder, I do wonder if Disney, because I heard that their CEO, there's like a huge shakeup with Disney where the old CEO is coming back to take over.
I heard about this in the news.
Yeah,
like, he's gone and Iger's back in.
Right.
Bob Iger, I guess. I forgot. I love Bob Iger. Right, I have to say that in a robotic voice, or we get canceled.
Right, exactly.
By Disney Plus, not just Disney. Disney Plus cancels us.
Right, exactly. Like
Disney has no power anymore. He's lost all his freezer head juice.
Yeah, suddenly like they talk to Spotify about my podcast, and they're like, "Hey, there's these free streams that he's getting every week. He's done. Get him out of here.
He's done. Cut him off.
Yeah,
you mentioned Iger, cut him off. You get 2 Iger mentions.
Exactly. But I do wonder if maybe him coming back, if maybe they start to redistribute. Because I've heard that like Disney Plus is losing the money because of that, which it makes no sense that Disney Plus is losing the money when they've got tons of content on there already. I mean, it's like you could. I have like half the Marvel movies I've never seen, but I've got Disney Plus because I've got it bundled with Hulu, and essentially my wife and I we got Hulu and ESPN Plus, and it was like, oh well, for the same price of Hulu and ESPN Plus, you can get Disney Plus as well. So we just did the bundle, and then it's like, oh, I can watch some of these things on Disney Plus, but like I don't watch. I've watched like the Mandalorian and the Boba Fett series, but I don't really watch like the original stuff on there. It's more like, oh, a movie, a Marvel movie that I haven't seen before, or like I caught up on all the Star Wars films that I hadn't seen yet on there. So it does. I think it makes more sense for them to be using all of their properties that they have. That they, it's like if you make a movie, put it on Disney Plus and have it already there, and then to be putting their money into shows like 911. There's still enough of a market of people out there that want to watch TV.
That's true. People still want to watch TV like TV. It can't be completely gone.
Right.
Because I pay through the nose for TV and cable, but
right.
It's fine. I'll keep paying.
Right,
but,
same here.
And I'll make my grievances not on a podcast, but just like to say Comcast is wonky.
Yeah. Right.
So I understand that. So hopefully they can put more money into these shows and make it better again.
Yeah.
Or not. But I'm talking about Section 8 in about 40 minutes now. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I could probably let you go. I don't want to take up all your time.
Yeah. Well, no, I think while we're wrapping up here, why don't we?
Yeah, sure.
We'll do the standard plugs.
Oh, pluggos. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Comeuppance.reviews.net. You just probably type that into the old Google machine, and you'll find everything. 10 Action Rocks on Instagram. I posted Revenge of the Red Baron. Mickey Rooney silly movie. I don't know if you saw that post.
I did see this morning. I wasn't sure what it was. I was like, Mickey Rooney, what is he doing? And
the kid on the cover is supposed to be Tobey Maguire.
Right.
If you look very closely on the back, you can see Toby. He's like a young Tobey Maguire. But the kid in the front is nowhere to be found. That's supposed to be Toby, which makes it really. It's a really wacky movie. That's 78 minutes with credits. So it's like, thank goodness. Not that it was bad, but it was really it was a lot of fun. And then I watched like a couple weeks ago with some friends. It was fun. And then that's about it for plugs. Just you type that in, you'll find us. Oh, on the podcast, which you'll be on. Yeah. Tomorrow, actually, talking about No Subject Part 6.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. We got some good ones. So
all
written down.
Yeah, and your podcast, it usually we say. I think I had this conversation with Will when he was on. The podcasts drop, right? They don't post or
they drop.
They drop. Yeah. And usually it's like the 1st and 15th, right?
Yes, it is. Usually it is. I don't think we really missed a deadline on that. So yeah. So when we do yours, you'll be on the November 15th. So December 15th.
Yeah. So this podcast will be out after that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
sounds good.
So No Subject. So people can go. I mean, people should already be subscribed to your podcast anyway, because it is.
Thanks.
It's
into yours.
Yeah. I mean, iTunes. But I mean, I don't know what I mean, everybody uses.
I listen on iTunes because I got these Apple, these phone thingamajigs.
Yeah. It's great because one of the things that's kind of funny is that like if I subscribe on iTunes to your podcast, now that my phone is like a little bit, it's a little bit more recent. That it's the SE version. I get notifications when your podcast is there. So it's like, oh, new podcast episode, Comeuppance reviews, and I can click on it and be like, oh, okay, here we go.
I forget what we did last time. It was Matt. It was Matt's, then we did the other one. I forget.
It was
Born Soldier.
Born Soldier, yes, yeah. So all the Bourne movies and all the Soldier movies stuff. So I think you guys talked about Soldier Boys, which
we did, yes. And we did talk, I kicked myself because we should have switched that. That should have been second to last. Of course, Soldiers of Fortune, our favorite movie, should have been last.
Yes.
Which I think I mentioned you on the show. And it's like, well, it's our favorite movie and our favorite fight.
Yes.
Of all time.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Christian Slater, Cole Meany. It doesn't really get much better than that in a fight scene. So
it doesn't. I don't forget any other fights. I forget any Scott Adkins beating up people in casinos and Section 8. Forget anything else. No, this is the fight to remember. It's like Prevagen, the name to remember. Oh, yes. Walking ad.
Well, I mean, think of a casino fight. I mean, we recently lost Christy McVie from Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, our buddy McFleetwood from Zero Tolerance.
Yeah, I mean, even that, like even talking about Section 8 with Scott Adkins beating people up in a casino, which was a good scene. It was great, like watching him do that. But it still doesn't quite match what Zero Tolerance does in casinos. I mean, you shoot Mick Fleetwood between the eyes, and then you blow up the Vegas Strip.
It's like you can just do that one thing, right. And then then you blow up basically half of Vegas. It's like, okay, this is one of the best PM. I mean, maybe my personal favorite actually.
Yeah.
Besides the sweeper, and then Zero Tolerance. But I think I talked about it a million times.
I think I've got Recoil, Sweeper, and Zero Tolerance, or Last Man Standing's in there too. It's like
Last Man Standing, yeah. So.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of those. It's funny, like we could do that podcast every day, just like every episode.
We just kind of sing the praises of all 5 of those movies, or 4 or 5 of those movies.
Yeah, exactly. But I think again, for the podcast, I think definitely people.
Well, thanks, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys have said you're on most podcatchers. I think that's.
Yeah, I think we're on all. Well, I'm not sure if we're actually on Stitcher yet. It's been a couple of years.
Stitcher's hard because they outsourced their login
to
their portal to another company. But when you use that portal to go into Stitcher, you can actually add on Stitcher and Pandora through that portal. So So if you go to their website, it's like I don't know what the company is, but there's some other company that you create an account with, and then you put your podcast on there, but it posts it not only to Stitcher but also Pandora.
I see. So I'll look into that one of these days.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta say, thanks again for having me on to do these Bruces. We'll have to do like the Kevin Dillon version next.
Yeah,
or Eric Roberts. You don't do all just Bruce.
I think that it's too much of a crapshoot with these Bruce Willis movies.
Yeah, we could do some other people.
I mean, Kevin Dillon, there's always going to be material there, I think. So.
Yeah, Kevin Dillon, let's see, Eric Roberts, Mickey Rourke, people like that.
Yeah, if Dermot gets into
Dermot Mulroney. If we can see Agent Game, I'd like to see that. So
yeah, that sounds like a good one. So so we've definitely got some other places to go here. But thank you again for coming on.
This was
another fun one. And
it was. Yeah,
we'll kind of keep our eye out for some more free streamers that we can chat about in future episodes.
I'll keep an eye out because it usually pops up right after Gasoline Alley, right?
Exactly right. They keep trying to get us to watch Gasoline Alley. So
I already watched it. I'll watch it again. Fine.
Exactly. Well, thanks again, Ty, and thanks everybody for listening. Bye, everyone.
Bye.